Hello everybody, it's Friday night and it is time for the Weekender once more. And on this week's show, we bring you all the news of the TV and film from the 1980s you should have been watching. We also talk about some hobby as well. On top of that, we have a competition for the Warhammer Age of Sigmar starter set from store.ontabletop.com. To aim with a chance to win, you need to go over to the video on OnTabletop and pop a comment below. You may need to make a free account to do so. Otherwise, sit back and relax because your weekend starts here. Hello everybody and welcome to the Weekender. I'm joined this week by Justin and Ben to take you on our journey through hobby. No hobby journey. It's a good one.
We're going on an adventure.
He's gone a little Bob Ross there. Happy little dice rolling.
On an adventure.
So this week we're going to be talking about even more Middle Earth stuff, and I'm going to get even more now.
Yes, you should.
And suddenly we changed to the Middle Earth channel.
Oh, yeah. That's fine. Have we discussed Film Deg? That may not be how it's pronounced. It's a YouTube channel. He talks to a lot of old GW staffers.
Oh, I've seen him popping up on YouTube. Yeah.
I am ignorant of this. I need to go searching.
He did one a while ago where he talks to the two Perrys about how they got involved in sculpting Middle Earth. And it's about 40 or 50 minutes long. And if you're a Middle Earth fan, you need to listen to that, because the talk about how they sculpted the miniatures starts with a 20-minute or so preamble about them and getting tours around Weta and just getting to, spending time and sculpting with Peter Jackson. It's like, oh yeah, the miniatures. You want to talk about the miniatures? Yeah. This is how we did them. Talk about those for like another 40 minutes, then segue back round.
Do they talk about the Carl Urban thing and about why it's true scale at all in that?
They do mention why the scaling is different.
Because apparently they sent him a miniature and he said, "Why is my head and my hand so big?" And apparently that fed back into the reason why they went true scale with it all. So
I don't know if that's it. By all accounts, they'd already decided to go true scale before they'd even started. Because GW had to tender for it,
right?
With other miniature companies.
Yeah. That might be it then.
So, but
urban legends within the
Arwen,
Middle Earth.
Aerosmith's daughter,
Liv Tyler.
That's her. Yeah. She did send back hers, and they do mention that. Going, these things aren't right. Fix
I still don't think the initial miniatures looks that good anyway, to be honest, but with her face anyway. But
what have you done to my nose? It looks completely wrong.
Poor Gary Morley. Anyway, yes. So we're not going to be talking much Middle Earth, but if you fancy some Middle Earth, Film Deg. It's FILMDEG, Film Deg. You can go look at yourself. Google. It's a thing. YouTube has a search function. If you've got this far, you can find that. It's just there.
Yeah, at this point, I'm not going to put the links in the description. I'm just going to make you find it.
Not for that. So. Yeah. Right. Before we kick in, then, we've had a busy little period. We've just come out the back of a theme week for Conquest. Where myself and Shay had a lot of fun failing massively to defeat each other's armies.
I don't know. I think it was, you were trying to hammer in a screw.
The old
you can do it. It just doesn't work so good.
Yeah.
Gets there eventually. So if you've missed out on the Conquest, you can have a look in there through the Sorcerer King videos. You can check out the hub over on tabletop.com to see them all. They're probably even in a playlist on YouTube. Are they in a playlist on YouTube? There you go.
They are indeed.
Again, you're already here. You just have to click like one button and you're flying.
Yeah.
You can see a Rakshasa. That may or may not be a tiger. not going to go in there.
He's great, whatever.
Give me strength. Anyway, there are a host of videos in there about the Sorcerer Kings, about getting them up and running, and even playing a couple of games for First Blood and Conquest: The Last Argument of Kings. So the big brother. So yeah, we had a lot of fun with that. I'm sure there'll be more theme weeks coming soon. Probably.
Maybe, yes.
Yeah.
Nice, like
Keep an eye out for those.
Yeah. And if you want to see whether or not you were a winner of one of the prizes, if you go to the prize center over on tabletop.com, which you will find by going to more. I'm pretty sure there's a little video intro that shows this that we play every week whenever I announce the prize. But anyway, go to more, go to claim a prize, and when you click on it, it brings you to this part, the prize center, and you can just scroll down and see who the winners are of previous prizes. Dad's Scarf got Warcry, Briar and Bone.
There
The
you go.
jammy bugger.
I wanted that one.
You just want all the fantasy.
I'm going to say he's
things.
jammy
I do.
because I see the prize claims coming in, and these are all picked via the medium of a random YouTube picker if it's on YouTube, or by randomnumber.org, and a big long list if it's off the back of anything we do on Tabletop.
Mm-hmm.
So Dad's Scarf on YouTube, yeah. And then Danny76 on Tabletop is the same person. So that cheeky won too recently. So
Nice.
people need
Very
to
good.
people need to be in there
Yes.
commenting to stop him
Be in it
picking
to
up a
win it.
third.
Yeah.
But that's what happens with random. There's not much I can do about random.
Mhm.
Random is as
hat-trick
random does.
Yeah,
Patrick
well,
Reddy,
if RN Jesus loves you, RN Jesus loves you.
Doesn't love me.
Blessed be Nuffle. There we go.
God bless Nuffle. There's one for the kids in the audience. They say my throwbacks are out of date. We'll be seeing some of those later on anyway. Right. Anyway, we need to push on with this show. And as always, we kick into the most important part of the week, the indie of the week.
Ooh.
And this week I've gone for something small, compact and bijou, Boston. Because
and you
I've
haven't warned
decided-
us about it.
Well, I'd never need to warn you about it.
I don't know. Sometimes you look at Jared and you're like,
We're going to have a look at Heroics and Ross, famed throughout the land for their 6 bill, which is
Interesting.
comprehensively big. Going since 71.
Wow.
Tony and Roger started it. I don't think they're still involved. Could be wrong on that. Pretty sure Roger at least has retired. Anyway, over the years, the range has expanded somewhat. There are boats. I'm not so interested in boats.
Stuff.
So,
Sorry, Rob.
I mean, you have roughly half a century's worth of miniatures.
That's insane.
Well, actually, if we look at the shop, you'll see there's considerably more than half a century's worth. I've deliberately misconstrued what you said.
So you did that.
You're so funny. You're a funny guy.
Anyway, so we'll start off with the smaller stuff and then we'll work our way into the bigger ranges.
Right. Okay.
So right off the bat, if we go to 3 mil, there's just one period covered. But don't worry, they're comprehensive in the way of 3 mil stuff. So micro armor, micro peoples, micro planes.
Yeah.
Everything you need and so much more. If you are planning on playing, and I think micro skill games are particularly fantastic. I know some people whine that it's only a token, but at the end of the day, 28 mil figures are only a token. You can play 28 mil games with a block of wood if you want, and I have. It makes no difference to the rules. We'll get back to that later on, actually. But the figures themselves are absolutely beautiful, as you can see from the little ME110s there.
That's amazing.
And they have a substantial amount in here.
Right.
Be it the various motor patrol boats or large merchant vessels or the planes that will then blow them up. They're all in there alongside landing craft and friends.
Nice.
Which means you can do massive combined arms, full-scale things, if you so desire, if you want to really get stuck in there and play something particularly spectacular. There's HMS Vivian, HMS Adrian, and the rest of the young ones sank, unfortunately.
Is there much in the merchant category?
As in merchant Navy?
Merchant vessels, yeah.
For targets to hit. Yeah.
No,
I'm just thinking something at this scale could be fun if you're wanting to do like that North Atlantic wolf pack.
They are
targets to hit.
They are convoys to be protected. You could, for example, if you wanted, you could do the Arctic run and do the run to Archangel.
That could be a really fun scenario to set up.
Not if you happen to be the convoy. It's not. As all of the
hit.
Yeah, they do become targets to hit at that point. Anyway, so yes, there's a whole host of stuff in there in the World War II. But.
I was going to say, I saw a game at Salute this year, which had little tiny planes on it. I think they were slightly bigger than 3 mil, but it was all done on like a hex grid, and then on the top of the telescopic rods,
holes into the thing,
and the holes that you move them around. This would be perfect for that kind of like hex-based sort of grander scale battle in the skies.
Oh, 100%.
Of course. So.
Yeah, no, there was one I saw one time where they actually had a 2-level gaming table. Oh. So they had the sea level, which was just your regular board. But above that, they had a clear perspex that then all the aircraft worked on that, which was really cool.
Yeah, because you don't then interfere with the naval stuff going on underneath. That's nice.
Exactly. And you can run 2 individualized games between them that affect each other.
Oh, that would be very cool. Oh,
that'd be head melting. I wouldn't want to do that at a convention.
I think it was at a convention I saw
with random people.
I think it was Salute.
Because all I can think there is one of them gets ahead of the other, and then you have to sit around and wait for 5 minutes while your air defense is catching up because they're playing 5 minutes slower than you. Could you imagine the torment of that? At least at a club or at a friend's house, you can slap them.
It'd be like watching Dunkirk. You don't know what's happening.
No, well, that's true. What's happening or when it's happening.
That movie confused the life out of me.
Or you could let them tear on at their own pace and go, oh, he's just dropped a bomb. Unfortunately, he dropped a bomb where you were 5 minutes ago. You've all got a lot further on than that. It encourages fast play. Try and get ahead of the aircraft above you. If you can get a turn or two in front, they won't have a clue where you're going. Anyway, so 3 mil stuff, 1/600. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. Anyway, 6 mil. 6 mil. There's so much lovely 6 mil stuff.
Crikey.
Yes. Blimey Charlie, as the man would say in France.
Wow.
Obviously, I feel like I should start with ACW. Obviously, the range themselves has grown over the years. They have supplemented it with other ranges. So occasionally you may come across stuff that has been sculpted by the likes of Adler or Timecast or whatever, because there's bits of scenery and the like in there as well. But it's all good in the hood. And if, for example, somebody like, Young Shay was looking to add more 6 mil stuff, because we've already got a lot of 6 mil, he could pop in here and do the thing, which is always good. I want to have a look at the Napoleonics there, because they've got a rule set written by John Stallard.
Nice.
Not John Stallard. John Stallard.
Stallard.
Belgian, lives in Canada.
Okay.
Right. And by all accounts, it's a very good mass battle rule set if you're planning on getting involved. Oh, I don't have any there either. We're going to have to play
Dearth of Images, Jerry.
You know what a Brunswicker looks like in Napoleonic, don't you?
No, I have no idea.
Well, then you should get better.
Mind's eye of Brunswicker.
Yeah. Get good noob. That's what they say in France. Where are there we are there. So
okay.
They have a range of rule sets. This one's free for Napoleonics. The others are Blitzkrieg Commander by Pendraken. So they just resell those because it's the same scale. But this, for accessibility of massed battle for Napoleonics, This apparently has got really good reviews from people. It's a 50-page rule set, thereabouts. The remaining chunk of pages at the end are optional rules for things like weather and baggage trains and stuff like that, ordnance issues. And then it starts with possibly my favorite thing I've ever seen in my life, a poem.
Good place to start.
Yes, I thought so.
Yeah. Advice to a lead soldier.
Yes.
Or a lead soldier, whichever.
Before the horror of war.
If you're shaded with oils and washed with a brush, if your details all crisp and parting lines flush, remember it don't mean a littler tush to the man who makes the rules. If your coat's painted red and it ought to be blue, your hat's off colour and your skin's a sick hue, it don't matter how some fool's painted you, if you live and die by the rules. If your paint's all chinky from years of hard use, your bayonet's gone and one arm's hanging loose, you're as good as the man next in as much use to the man who writes the rules. I just think that is great. By the way, it's not short either. Awesome. It's a quality bit of thing. So I've only had a chance to sort of browse over it. It works for 3mm and 6mm, as you would imagine.
Okay.
These things are important for the likes of...
Is it just a basing thing then? So as long as everything's based correctly, that kind of gets you through the... You have both basing and ground scale for 3 and 6mm changes. Ground scale goes from, there you go there, 1mm is equal to 3.3 meters, or 3mm is equal to 10 meters if you're playing with 6mm figures rather than 3mm ones. So, timing works roughly, I think 10 minutes per turn, as far as time in real life goes. So six turns would be an hour in reality, for your game. But I'm curious to see how it goes. Obviously, they have a command and control structure in there as well. So command figures are represented on hex bases, and then depending on the nation you're using, the regiments may be of slightly different construction or size. British don't rank as deep as some of the other nations would. So yeah, it's an interesting system. Like I say, free, gratis. It's worth picking that one up if you're interested. Yeah, if you're interested in how things are going to sort of pan out for Napoleonic, especially people are always searching for a Napoleonic rule set that works, how they envisage it, and people are often left salty and sad because they can never find one. So that is out there, and you can lay your hands on it if you go to the downloads or the rules section, rule sets and books, to get it in there. Now,
what's in the modern?
Filthy stuff. They ruined warfare.
I'm just curious to see if the F-22's in there.
It all ruined warfare. Where would I find it? It's an American, but they sell it to everything, don't they? Everybody and their dog has
they
one.
They sell it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Especially these days.
Carries tech support, recce, aircraft. It'll be in there.
We saw one. We got one picture.
Hey!
It's the Avro, Canada, the Nuke. That doesn't sound American. Sounds like it's from the continent of America, but not from the United States.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's something a lot of folks forget. America isn't just the US.
Yeah, but in that case, that was quite frankly the US. Because it was a big US picture of their flag.
Yes, yes.
They lied to us. They lied. What? Just saying, they did. It didn't say Canadian on that, did it? No. I'd be right.
No.
Anyway, I digress. Push. So
this will be very handy for a game that we might be looking at later. So
yes,
possibly.
I thought it might be
maybe a bit wee, but yeah.
No,
interesting.
Just means you're playing a slightly different scale. Then
I suppose so. That's very true.
As your little 6mm fellas run across the board, because then you can play on a much tighter, compact, and bijou board, which is what you want to see.
Very nice.
Your itsy bitsy teeny weeny shitty rocket teamy.
if that's what you want to view it as. Viet Cong doing loads of work. But again, this is something that we've talked about in the past. Everybody has this concept of the Vietnamese wars being guerrilla warfare only, whereas there were obviously ARVN and MVA regular troops who did have proper engagements. So
big pitched battles almost.
Yeah. In which case you'll need to lay your hands on some mostly Soviet tech, shall we say, for one side, and then a whole hodgepodge for the other. But it's nice to have it. And it's the grand spectacle you get when you get to see it all.
Yeah.
I mean, they do cover a ridiculous run of like eras.
Oh, yeah, it's what everybody wants to see.
Very impressive.
Every period that you want to go to has got something somewhere for somebody, which is good for things like To the Strongest. It makes a good way of getting your figures for that. People aren't aware To the Strongest is a system that is grid based, so you want to have a set amount of bases moving in and out of a grid structure, and then Age of Penda does something similar on a smaller scale. And very so true. playing this where you're capping units in a square at 6, 3 friendly, 3 opponent. In Age of Penda. So being able to pick up a set of Frankish infantry or whatever it happens to be and have them skirmish their way through there is all good, clean family fun.
So tiny.
Well, they're not that tiny. They're not as small as 3 mil. They're twice the size.
At least they're not the dots of 2 mil.
I mean, you still have to basically paint these with a toothpick.
Oh, no, you can do it with a brush.
Very delicately.
Yeah. Just get a good brush.
As long as you've got the good point, and away you go. Yeah. I think what you said about the spectacle of it is why you go for this kind of scale, I think, because it means, you set up on a typical dining room table and you can suddenly play up much, much bigger battles than you would necessarily be playing at 28 mil. And get to have a lot of fun with it as well. I think it's quite nice.
That, and if you go for a full-size gaming table, you can do something ridiculously huge and epic.
Yeah. Very true. Oh, the siege potential. You could have little tiny castles. Oh, my God.
I say little tiny castles.
Yeah, you
could just use the Venedra or what was the one that Warlords sell? Tabletop something castle, which are all theoretically 28 mil. But when you put 28 mil figures beside it, they're about the same size as my house. They're not particularly castle-like. They look...
it's more like a small fort.
Yeah. Whereas being able to have a walled city is very much doable in 6 mil. And that sort of large ground scale, you can really get in there.
I know that Warren's Acker is 15, but that kind of idea, that sort of large...
Yes,
city size gaming table would be really cool. Yeah, definitely. Lovely stuff.
It is. And they've even got a very bucket. They've got a large very bucket, which is one of my favorite types of very bucket. So
Trebuchet.
Yeah. So if you're after a different scale, and the nice thing about 6 mil is not just the spectacle, but the rule sets that are available out there. Large little gear, DBX systems, things like that, where you can base elements and you don't need that much. So a full game with something like DBX is 12 elements in a force, which means you can collect a full army for pittance, literally for the price of a Space Marine chaplain, a Primaris one. You can get yourself an army and play not a intro game or a starter game or a simple game. You can play a full game system with that, whether it's throwing yourself into the Punic Wars or desperately attempting to stave off the encroachments of some filthy Romans into your lands. Or if you want to really annoy everybody, just go full Sea Peoples.
Yeah, I was wondering about the Sea Peoples. Is that
everybody wonders about the Sea Peoples?
Is that meant to be the Atlanteans or what?
No. Oh, Christ, no.
No?
Oh,
okay, sorry. I have no idea, so I figured I would ask.
No, the Sea Peoples were a group who raided the Mediterranean, destroyed a couple of civilizations, had for the Phoenicians, and either did up or got beaten back by the Egyptians, depending on whose propaganda you want to listen to. The problem is nobody knows what raiding group the Sea Peoples were. There was some talk that they may be Minoans, and then there was somebody else saying that possibly Canaanites. They were a group that came out of nowhere, devastated large swathes of the Mediterranean coastline, and then vanished just as quickly. But that is the Sea Peoples.
Oh, I am well up for that.
Definitely the Atlanteans.
No, they're not Atlanteans. I hate you all so much.
I didn't know, so I thought I would ask the stupid question. That is my purpose.
Anyway, so yes, 6mm stuff. Lovely, big, chunky boys that you can get right in there. There is a little bit of terrain and STLings. This is for modern / post War Gone Hot, post 80s Swedes. So little strivs and the little tiny LVB which are, ones and zeros. So make of it what you will. Can't do much. However, in the STL file, they have something far more interesting than little 3mm Swedish tanks. And that is a little pillbox, a little red letterbox for your tabletop. Now, yes, this is scaled to, stop laughing, this is scaled to 3 or 6. I can't remember which.
What? I mean, I know we've had a bit of a recession this last while, but seriously, Doctor Who is in trouble.
It's around in a little tiny
oh dear. Wouldn't get in a post box. I will say, anybody who's ever attempted to find these for 28mm table for any sort of interwar British stuff will discover that they're incredibly rare. They're like hen's teeth. There's like 3 companies do them. They're incredibly expensive and annoying to get because they're generally always out of stock. Warlord do one, but you have to buy it in a pack with another box and a blue policeman's box, actually like a TARDIS. So if you want to have multiple red post boxes like you would see on every other street corner, then you end up spending a fortune. So people who are looking for them, if you can find some friendly ones and zeros cretin to print them out for you, this one's free. You could just get that.
I'm sure there is someone on Etsy who will do a commission for you.
Why would you do that? You just slap one of your friends, because everybody has a friend who does ones and zeros these days. It's a terrible thing, but it happens.
Wow.
Yes.
Little tiny post boxes.
Little tiny post boxes. You just scale them up to 28mm and off you go. I need them for my Operation Sea Line, because otherwise people won't. It could just be any European city. But the minute you've got red, the minute you've got your red and black post boxes, everybody knows who it is.
But you have to find you have to find the old red fun boxes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm less worried about them because I don't think they were prevalent at all in that period. I'd have to go and check. The blue policeman's phone boxes were, because they were rare, and that's why they were all locked up. Red post boxes, yes.
Those ones. Yeah. So.
But yeah, you did what you had to do, did the mission, be all that you can be, and win it all. So that's Heroic and Roz. Worth having a look if you fancy some 6mm, or if you fancy picking up those Napoleonic rules. They are scaled for 3 to 6mm. There's nothing to stop you doing 10 to 15 on that either. Just change your base sizing if needs be. Maybe up your frontage and away you go.
Nice.
Right. Time for some news.
Coming to you from the center of Northwestern Europe. Covering board games, war games, card games, and all that you love. It's the news.
All right, we're back to take a look at some of the news that's caught our eye. And there's been some spectacular things coming this week. Not least of which is the pre-order for a new 7TV program guide. Now,
fun.
7TV's program guides are essentially campaign / scenario books. that set up a specific spin on a TV series or film. And in this case, they've gone for a touch of technically sci-fi.
Yes, kind of. Yeah, I suppose.
Nothing kind of about it.
Sci-fantasy?
If you want to say that. The Dark Fortress is coming. And as we all know, Krull is a sci-fi film because the Beast and his scumbag aliens with lasers come from outer space and disrupt Lisa and Colwyn's wedding just as they were about to stop all that infighting on their planet. Anyway, so that's what's happening. Shut up. Right. There will be a range of miniatures coming.
There will, yes.
For the Dark Fortress. Right off the bat, we have our hero / Muppet, the Cyclops in the middle. He was just called Cyclops. I think he actually has a name in Crooked Dice, which is nice.
They've
named him. He was just rather than just watch him lumber around the place, wondering where Sid James is, waiting to die, because he was played by one of the guys from the Carry On films. You'll recognize him if you see it.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And then we have our actual hero, Lisa, and her bit of fluff, Colwyn, as well. They are spectacularly good. Spectacular. She gets kidnapped in the film. Spoilers, by the way, if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen Krull, actually, Krull's been out now 41 years. 41 years. What are you doing with yourself?
See, here's the problem, Jerry. I think the spoilers call can come back in because it's so old that the younger generations don't know about it. So it technically is spoilers again.
They need to sort their shit out. Go and watch Krull now. Pause this. Go and watch Krull, then come back, bask in it, and then wonder where Liam Neeson is. Why have we not got a Keegan figure? Well, I don't know either.
He's coming up. I
really hope he is.
Yeah. Liam Neeson is incredibly litigious, but we'll he will find.
Here's hoping.
He will,
there's also a host of other figures coming alongside the hero pack. So Creed's Raiders are particularly fancy. Let's face it. And by fancy, I mean I really think somebody should buy them some toothbrushes, maybe a bar soap. leave it there for them to clean themselves up with a little bit.
Spent all their money on pants. So
well, at least they're wearing pants.
Flash.
I will give them that. They have got pants on, which is a bonus in every respect. There's also a set of figures that I have seen before / own. So Brion's figures, these were originally sculpted for a game called Strongsword that Westphalia had.
Yes,
I have these. Yeah. These came out originally in Raison. I don't know. I don't think. Let me rephrase this. Crooked Dice generally cast their miniatures in metal unless it's particularly big, in which case it'll go to resin if they can't do a metal version. Mm-hmm. I imagine these won't be the resin ones. I imagine they'll resculpted or recut molds to make them metal like the rest. Yeah. Which means I'd probably have to get another set just to compare and contrast.
Of course. Yeah.
Just to see what the difference is. So we've got the Command, which are a lovely set of monopose figures, fantasy figures, halberd and pointy sergeant with his gut hanging out, all sorts. But these are accompanied by, these are multi-part figures. So the bodies and legs are one piece, the heads and arms are separate, which means you've got a bit of mixing and matching you can do when it comes to equipment. So the hand weapons, the guards with their lanterns out and the crossbows are all interchangeable. At least mine are. I can't imagine they'll change that. Why would you? It's great. So work on the principle that all of these bits and pieces you can mix back and forth, so you can have slightly more armored crossbow or go for the soft hats on them if you want to, which is all great. They will need opponents, of course. There's a filthy Blight avatar, not as filthy as that creepy wizard that we seen last week, who could go into this as technically the wizard is good, but there was a shapeshifter who shapeshifts into the creepy wizard and attacks people. and he looks even creepier. But yes, you can get him from last week if you were paying attention. Go and get him. Have you watched Krull yet? Great. And then we have the Slayers. So these are the beasts, or in this case, the Blight, because it's the Blight. These are the Blight's minions on the planet as he rocks around the place in his floating, flying fortress. Yeah, they are Slayers. Those red hot pokers up the bum, they are laser guns. Pew pew. Stay away from them. Don't get up close. They'll have you.
I was wondering if they had landed on planet and just went, oh no, guns aren't fair. Let's have some fun and just use pointy sticks like the hairy apes down below us.
No, the guns aren't fair. That's why they brought lasers. It's so much more unfair. You wouldn't believe. So much more unfair. Anyway, also a little bunch of pelt skin reavers are coming to boot as well. So some sort of abhuman beastman types. Classic old school brew for RPG fans. Brew all over the place. They are going to be available in a host of ways. Obviously, all the miniatures will be available separately, so you can pick up any of these packs that you want to in any amount. But for the pre-order, there are 3 ways you can get it. You can pick up just the Dark Fortress pack itself, which gives you all the rules and cards you need to play.
Oh, look, a MacGuffin.
Mm-hmm. Better than that, it is specifically the glaive. Yeah, that is what he's after. Yeah. That is what you need to get if you want to stop. Actually, that's not true, but that would spoil the film. The glaive was shit. They used the power of love.
Captain Planet?
No,
it's been so long since I've seen this movie. I'm having flashbacks.
It's really simple. The part of the wedding ceremony, they pass a flame from hand to hand. And when the glaive fails to stop the beast, Colwyn and Lisa combine their hands together and flame just jets out.
So the secret ingredient is fire.
Secret ingredient very much is fire. No, the secret ingredient is love. But the result of that.
Passion. Yes. Okay, muy caliente.
Yeah. Or you can pick up the hero bundle with the rules, or the villain bundle with said rules as well. So
very nice.
You can get yourself right in there for touch the old Krull on Krull action.
Jerry is in his happy place.
I'm going to stop the game now. We'll just go watch Krull. Stop this. The rest of the show will just be Krull. We'll mirror it so YouTube won't pick it up. If it does that. Backwards
well,
videos,
you mirror it and then change its speed by 5%. That way its algorithm can't read it.
I believe that when
I swear
see
I've never done that.
Why would you bother? Right. Krull. Ben. Non-Krull news.
There is some non-Krull news in this episode.
Yes, there would be.
So, Wargames of Atlantic, they recently put out fairly recently, a game in a box for this Quaz War, which was taking the awesome stuff from Zombie Smith and bringing it all together alongside plastic kit, so you could basically just play the game straight out of the box, which we did, and it was good fun. It was awesome.
It's great. Yeah.
They are, because apparently Wargames Atlantic don't sleep, they are working on a new game in a box. And this one is going to be based on The Last War, which is a Forbidden Psalm rule set, which is itself based on the Nuke-World rules from the lovely folks over on the continent in Sweden and beyond. So yes, this is going to be a game in a box for The Last War. The Last War is by Will Rahman Daltrey, who designed this around the theme of World War One, but it went wrong. Real weird. So it's going to bring together lots of the plastic kits from Wargames Atlantic that they've been working on for World War One, alongside a conversion sprue, as you can see there, which will allow you to throw in trench raiding weapons, weird, terrifying grubs, and all sorts of other things drawn from the Last War rules in order for you to dive in and have some fun. For anyone who's not tried Forbidden Psalm or Nuke-World, it's very simple, quick OSL style set of rules. The dice rolling is very minimal. It's a lot more about kind of like the flow and the theme of a game and things like that. And that sort of converts very, very nicely over between the miniature war game and the rules for the role-playing game. So if you wanted to mix and match a bunch of stuff from different stuff from Mortborg and stuff, then you could easily do that. But yes, everything's going to be in a box. You're going to get the rules, which obviously are available now if you want to go and pick them up from Will. But if you want to get the rules in the box set, they're going to be there alongside all the tokens and accessories you need for playing the game, and of course all the miniatures as well. So you'll be able to go at it, kit bash to your heart's content, and build up an awesome set of miniatures of just playing the last war straight out of the box. I would highly recommend going and check out the last war itself, because it's a great little rule set, lots of theme, lots of blood and guts and gore and everything else in between, and plenty of weirdness as well. So
before we saunter off into the wilderness of more news, the uptake on this has been excessive. So this Quar's War, the Rifleman's Pocketbook, great, fantastic. Then the last war, people have been going absolutely boogaloo. So Wargames Atlantic went, oh, you like that, do you? Okay then. So yesterday, I want to say it was, they announced a community design challenge. The idea is design a tabletop game. It has to be from either a single box or a single STL set that they do on Atlantic Digital. Format it in a text or Google document that they can read.
So you must English.
And then send it to them. And I believe the winner is going to get theirs made.
That's so cool.
Wargames Atlantic are going to be chucking that one out there. Go nuts.
I believe Malif, the guy who's set this up then, was the guy who designed a lot of the one-off indie stuff for Blacksite, I think. I think he did stuff like the Doom, Doom Dungeon or something, whatever it was, whichever one. Anyway, but yes, well, that's cool. That's really nice.
Anyway, I know if you want to get involved, find out the rest. The Book of Faces, Wargames Atlantic Legion, which is the fan group, not the company's one. Get in there and have a nosy around and poke it with sticks, and see what falls out the other end. Around between now and October, I think. But yeah, it's going to be interesting because they've got a diverse range out there. Yeah.
No, Ben.
But you've got werewolves. That's true.
Hear me out. Pub crawl, tavern brawl, fantasy style.
Right, which
fantasy sprues.
But remember, it has to be one box.
Yeah.
So you'd have to. It would be a very.
Oh, so we have to take one product box of theirs to make the game from?
One box or one of the STL things.
Okay.
So like the Trojan chariot or whatever it happens to be. Yeah. No mixing. The whole point is it should be playable out of a single box without needing to mess around.
Okay.
Right. I'll let you stew that one over for a little while. You've got until the 1st of October. In the meantime, other people have been hard at work designing games, and one of them is currently up for pre-order via the Majesty of Plastic Soldier, Justin.
Yeah, so Plastic Soldier have been working on a NAM 68 Tour of Duty rulebook, which is now up for pre-order. So this is going to be one of those games where you're playing 10 to 40 miniatures on the tabletop and just exploring this era of war. So you'll be taking on all of the classics. So you've got your Americans, you've got your Viet Cong, and well, I mean, I've never been all that big into Vietnam, so I don't know how much I have to say on it. What do you think about it, Ben?
I think it sounds like a great idea from what they've been sort of plotting and planning around with. From the looks of it, they've kind of really dived into the idea of this being themed around that tagline of Tour of Duty. So it's going to take place over the course of a year, I think it is.
Yes.
Of your platoon being embedded in Vietnam during the war. So you're going to have to build up your platoon, play through a series of campaign missions, which will also be linked together. The idea is that each of the scenarios themselves are all kind of scaled in different ways as well. So you can start off quite small, and then as you build on your collection, you can start to add more and more in as you see fit. They've got all those, as you were saying, Justin, they've got all those kind of classic things in there. So you've got your Viet Cong ambushes, you've got your rescuing down pilots, dealing with civilians and all that kind of stuff. And that's even built into the way that the scenarios work as well. So when you dive into scenario, you might have a clear goal at the very beginning of something, but then as things go, events might change and things might pop up and stuff like that. So your threat changes throughout the course of that, which I think is quite cool. Obviously, this is kind of built off the bones of a lot of stuff that they've been working on in the past, and you know, the guys at Plastic Soldier and everything to do with Battle Group is, you know, a well-oiled machine, as it were. So I think this is a really fun little sort of twist on what they've done previously, and it'll be fun to see what they do with it. The pre-orders currently are for their hardback limited edition set of rules. So if you want a big chunky book, lovely, yes,
not bad,
hardback loveliness, then you can get that. But they will also make a print-on-demand version available in the future, if you so desire. But there has been a huge take-up, much like with The Last War, for this one as well. A lot of people in the comments and things on social media and over on Tabletop have been like, ordered it as soon as it popped up, which I think is really awesome.
I was saying as well, this does scale as well. So I think we were alluding earlier in the indie that you could maybe grab some of the NAM miniatures out of there and play them with this.
Yeah, so you could easily play around with it, and have some fun.
Yeah,
because it's only 10 to 40 miniatures per side as well. I think that's a great starting point for someone trying out Vietnam, because you could be like, maybe I'll just buy one pack of minis, sit down,
you don't overload yourself,
and have some fun.
I talked to Warwick 3 years ago, possibly. Him and Piers, we were talking about something he'd just written, presumably. Would it have been?
Was it this, or was it one of the?
Was it Napoleon at War or Battle Group?
Okay.
It was something. It was something years ago. And after we finished recording the interview, myself, Piers, and him had a chat about what else they were working on. And he's going, "Oh yeah, working on this Vietnam game, NAM 68. It's great. Campaigns. It's all about the tour of duty. And the idea is, if anybody's watched either the classic TV show, Tour of Duty. Anyway, Painted Black was the theme tune. It's amazing. Have you not seen that? But
are you going to instruct them to go off and watch that now before coming back?
Yes. People would come in and people would leave. You get your platoon-like moments, you know, where people are so many days from finishing their tour. And then they get shot and everybody's devastated that they don't get to go home. And the campaign system in this reflects that. So the idea is you might be sending a patrol out I don't know how much of this has stayed in, although I did ask Piers this actually, and he said it's still, a lot of it is pretty much there. But you might send your platoon out from your fire base to go on a local recon, and maybe nothing happens.
Yeah.
Or nothing happens until you're almost back home safe. And then you get ambush is launched on you in your little fire base just as you're arriving back at the base. So much so that new, replacement green troops get sent in to fill out your squad as your veterans sort of get shipped home or die. And like Piers was saying, it got so involved with one of the platoons that the sergeant was only so many days away from shipping home. And so they didn't send him out on the patrol. They took somebody newer / worse because they didn't want to risk Sarge not getting back.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, so you've earned it. You've earned the ride home, son.
Yeah. And so I think there are some games where you can just dip in and dip out, and the system itself is probably grand. I don't know. Yeah. I've not looked. I'll know when my hardback arrives. But
there we go.
I've been waiting for 3 years since they told me about this. I can ignore it. But I think this one will really lend itself to the campaign. And this is why I've never played any Vietnam games, because while you can play big games and play big, Full Metal Jacket style assaults into cities and all the rest, I'm not that interested. But Platoon, Tour of Duty, Hamburger Hill, things like that, where it was a small group that you grew to know over time. That it's sort of the MASH effect. Everybody was devastated when the helicopter went down. Yes, I know it's Korea, not Vietnam, but you know what I mean. By the time those casualties happen, you've become so involved with the characters. And I think this will really, the campaign side will really lend itself to it. So I'm looking forward to that.
Getting emotionally invested in small pieces of plastic on the table.
No.
Metal.
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody looking for miniatures, by the way, on that note, check out Full Metal Miniatures. Is based in Deal in, I think, Kent. Does specifically Vietnamese stuff. We looked at them about 2.5 years ago as an indie. Absolutely stunning. A lot of the miniatures are based on photographs from the Vietnam War.
Maybe
so
time for a revisit.
Like sniper teams and stuff. So yes, we've got the Brown Water Navy boots in there if you want to do that too. Right. Okay. Who's up next, Jared? Well, we're going to be looking at some Malifaux next. Glad you asked.
Hi, me. Thanks, me. Back to me.
The guys over at Weird have showed off a whole host of bits and pieces that are coming in the near and not so near future. So every year they always do a thing called the Rotten Harvest around Halloween. In fact, they do something for most of the major calendar events. So you'll see things popping up at Easter and all sorts. And this one's a bit different this time round because previous Rotten Harvests, and I have one painted up beside me, are sometimes alternative gangs, pre-built, pre-structured. This one are effigies, and it's one for every faction within the world of Malifaux. So the guys and ghouls are all pre-assembled and absolutely delightful little things. Look at
really
them.
Are.
Look how cute they are. So you've got King Tut, Toad Tyke, Headless Halfling, on a hobby horse as well, by the way, which is just the most adorable thing I've ever seen in my life. A mini Merlin who looks not dissimilar to, I don't know if he looks like the wizard from Dungeons and Dragons cartoon.
That's what I was thinking.
Or if he looks like the one from the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, Sword and the...
a little bit.
When it was
Sword and Stone.
Yeah. Anyway, it's up to you. Blue robes, green robes, those are your choices. There are no other applicable. But I do like the massive Leshen header there as well. It's just...
they always do such quirky sculpts.
They really do.
Yeah.
Full of character.
The Ghoul Getter is great.
He's my favorite.
Trapping the... I know that little flying imp has a name because he's the weird logo. But I can't remember what it is. Creepy Crawly's okay. The pint-sized poltergeist creeping out of the well is very...
The ring girl.
Ringu. But then the Moth Munchkin. I mean, we'll just take a moment to have a look at that. Okay, we're done now.
Is that an Appalachia reference or something, I think?
The Mothman.
Yeah.
Oh, I've no idea. It's like that classic Hammer horror, The Blood Beast Terror, where it's not a vampire, it's actually a woman who turns into a moth and then sucks people's blood. Spoilers for The Blood Beast Terror, by the way.
It'd be very easy to dust her.
Anyway, they have some other bits and pieces coming as well. So you can see here the slipstreamers are coming, which are a delightful set of, I mean, I know that technically they're windsurfing there, but I can't help but feel like that they could come off those waves and be some sort of magical misty surfers, skittering through the world to the heart's content.
Paint the water etheric, you'll be fine.
Yeah, it could be done that way.
The thing that I really like about them as well is that it's expansion to the Hour faction. So they're like they were introduced a couple of years ago now, and they're kind of like the Fae faction within Malifaux for the Explorer Society, and then they're sort of out to kind of like reclaim their lost civilization and stuff like that, which I think is really nice. So it's good to see them back, which is cool. Yeah.
Also, I know a lot of people at home will be wondering why none of them look like Luke Skywalker, but we'll never find that out. Get in Slipstream, fantastic film. Go and watch that. We also have...
Pause again.
Pause again. This is going to be a long preview. We also have Step Right Up for anybody who likes the Bayou-esque style goblins and gremlins. These are particularly mental. The hog oil salesman on the back of his hog with his hog oil bottles that will cure all your ills or possibly start several of them. I mean, that's nice with his huge traveling cabinet on the back. But the hog spinners, you see the sign twirlers in the streets showing you where the nearest golf sale is. These two have got just their pigs attached by a medium of a belt.
Screaming pigs, yeah.
I mean, you do know they are going, wee.
Squeal and spin. Yeah. I imagine that's going to be particularly devastating because they're just creepy deluxe anyway. And beware that as he points towards this fella selling whatever the hell that is, and I'm not drinking it. You can't make me.
Oh, clearly that's some of the finest shine.
Yeah, well, there's also Widdershin's Lane, which I'm hoping his name is Lane, and this is Widdershin. I'm hoping. I don't think it's going to be the case, though.
Not quite.
So Jakat and the Alleyway Echo are creeping around the place. Again, creepy
Very
Victoriana feel. Jack the Ripper-esque. Yeah. Never,
some of your
never good
effects on these are going to be mad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just like the way he's dripping upwards as well.
Yeah. Very
he's
sort of weird and uncanny, which is amazing. So
yeah. Well, it's what's that upside down from the little kids TV show?
Stranger Things. The
That's
Demigorgon.
Everything's dripping up. It's all good. The work on the inside of his cloak as well, by the way.
Yeah, the skin cloak.
There's a skin batwing type thing going on. He's not right. He's gone horribly wrong. But he does have an umbrella, so that's nice. It's like Dr. Snuggles in that regard.
I don't want to know.
Have you not seen Dr. Snuggles? The last box that they've shown things off is the Guild starter box for the Guild Versatile starter box. Sorry, these are really good ways of getting into the game because they come pre-assembled with everything you need, including the Fate deck, the tokens for your scheme markers, and your measuring widget. And this is a spectacular looking set of stuff as well.
That idea of the magic spheres is amazing.
Yeah. Especially with the rippling shots hitting off the outside of it as well.
If
really nice
that's in a clear colored plastic, that would be amazing.
Probably not. I imagine that'll be in the regular.
Yeah,
because they're cast in a PVC style plastic, so it's a good board game, but they're not going to. I can't imagine they're going to be putting in the clear pieces.
Yeah,
it would
just a hell of a bit of extra effort.
Ass. Yeah. Also, once you prime it, they won't be clear much longer. But it gives you the chance to throw, you were saying earlier about effects paints. Throw some effects paints on there, and away you go.
Oh yeah.
See the Ripley splashes.
Yeah.
Don't put the effects paints on the big flat areas. It won't look well.
The Guild were my warband of choice back in the day when I started playing 2nd edition.
Uh-huh.
So I looked at this and was like, oh no, I'm going to get dragged back in.
Just sit there.
Yeah.
To my veins.
Yeah.
Once you're in, you're never out. That's the problem there.
Very true.
But yeah. So most of these are already up for pre-order. Other ones have just been previewed, so you may just have to keep an eye on the website for when they do become available. But there's a whole host of fun from Weird once again. I was looking at the train again recently.
Really Temptations?
Yes. Anyway, I should be tempted no more. I should be good. Very good. Ben, tell us what's coming from TTCombat.
So TTCombat have now released their new sort of fantasy jousting game that did particularly well on Kickstarter fairly recently, called Half Tilt. The starter set and more are going to be available about now for you to buy properly. It was all up for pre-order originally, but it should be available to go and snap up from their web store. The idea is this is, as I say, a jousting game set in a fantasy world with plenty of halflings. There are so many halflings who are going to be jousting it out against the tilt, as you can see there. Now, the starter set comes with 2 teams of knights for you to dive into and pick up. They all have sort of individual strengths and weaknesses and individual stats as well. So there's lots of sort of intriguing sort of game mechanics for you to dive into when it comes to which knights you pick to go up to the tilt first and last and all that kind of stuff as well. This is then joined by a whole host of additional sets that you can pick up that are all based around a particular theme, and most of them have interesting mount choices, I guess you'd say. So obviously if you go down the undead route, you get lots of nightmares and skeletal horses. There's also walruses. So if you wanted to sort of charge down the tilt at a slower pace, you can do that. There's pigs that fly. Who wouldn't want some of those? I can't quite believe it.
It's a Pegasus.
You're the Pegasuses, which is always good.
Would it not be Pegasi?
You've also got camels as well,
Cavalry.
which we also know. Very good in the desert. Don't bring
Excellent against horses. Horses hate them.
Yeah.
They should get a bonus for that. Horses
if you want to
fear the
spit
camel.
at your opponent as you ride down the tilt at the same time, you've got those options as well. A lot of these drawn from the wider fantasy range of miniatures that TTCombat have access to, but also they've thrown in some new stuff there as well. You've also got this really nice little set as well. So rather than have a camel, why not ride into battle on the back of an ogre and be a little
Makes
tiny
sense.
goblin just going, yeah, which I think makes a lot of sense as well. So yeah, a really nice little set of stuff there. The game itself, kind of think of it almost like their take on sort of like a Blood Bowl in a way. It's quite a fun, easy, quick game to dive into and have some fun with. Lots of dice rolling, beer and pretzel style thing. The actual terrain that you get in the start set and stuff, and you can see it here in this picture as well, actually has a gameplay influence. So the little tents are where you put your cards for your knights, and when you roll your dice at the beginning of your activation, you then allocate them to certain slots on the character, and you put it in the tent so your opponent can't see, and then you reveal them to see what's happened. So it gives you this really nice kind of like element of bluffing and stuff, which I think is quite cool. As I say, the mechanics themselves are kind of dice pool based. So you roll a pool of dice depending on the skills of your knights, and then you allocate to certain areas. So it might be speed, it might be damage, etc., all that kind of stuff, and then you work it out by sort of then rolling those dice against each other to see who wins out in particular duels. And yeah, you'll basically just ride down the tilt, smash each other apart, and see who comes out the end of it with the most eliminated knights. And obviously, if your side have done that to your opponent, then you're the winner, which is really cool. So a nice little comedic game for you to dive into and have some fun with.
I just have a Knight's Tale stuck in my head. One little halfling walking through the stands, just screaming, "Cat meat, hot wine."
Exactly. Yeah.
For all the people typing, yes, we know it's lists, not tilt.
Oh yes, the list, and then yes.
Too late now. You've already typed it and hit enter. I should have waited.
Yeah. They call it a tilt in the thing as well.
They can call it tilt if they want, but the field is the lists.
You tilt at the list.
You tilt at the list, yeah. Anyway, you two can recreate Ivanhoe, but with fat halflings, which is, always good for a laugh, I feel. Isn't that what you want in life?
I do love the little piggy ones.
Yes, they are very cute. They are very cute indeed.
Soury.
And at the end of it, you've got bacon. So, yeah.
If it goes particularly badly for you, you could end up with a kebab very quickly.
You could.
Spin roast that pig immediately.
That poor pig. Hero in the morning, dinner in the evening.
They all knew the risks. Right. Speaking of risks, Nuka-World.
Yes. So the new Nuka-World 2-player starter set from Modiphius has finally made its appearance in the market, and I am very excited because this was always one of my favorite expansions to the old Fallout 4 game. So in this one, we're getting everything we need to play. So all of our dice, all of our tokens, our miniatures, our terrain. The factions in this particular one are the Pact and the Operators, and this is just, I love playing in this world. So being able to play out some nice little skirmishes in the Nuka-World setting is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really curious to see how this one plays on the table, and I'm extra excited because I have it. It's right here. Look how pretty and shiny it is. Now, I've actually deliberately not opened this because I'm going to be unboxing it next week, hopefully, and I want my reaction to be clean for it because it is something very near and dear to my heart. So I'm hoping Modiphius haven't done anything too weird or wacky.
Well, it's been designed by James and
stuff.
Yeah.
So
oh, yes. Yes. One of my absolute all-time favorite game designers. So, James, I'm going to be judging you critically on this one, mate.
If you want to find out how it plays, James played through a full game of it. So you can see the gameplay up online.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Nice looking thing. I like the terrain in there as well, which looks to be a great
addition,
EPVC printed rather than card, so should be a bit more durable.
But on top of that, it's already got the texture print onto it, so you're not having to do any real additional work to it. Fine, you can maybe black out the edges.
Oh, 100% black those out, yes. Because the big white chunks in the middle of the red thing looks a bit too weird for me. But 2 minutes with paintbrush or marker right down the side, and away you go.
Turn it from Wonka World to actual Nuka-World.
Yes.
Well, I mean, a touch of weathering, make it a little more gritty, a little more grimy. Yeah. That's fine by me.
The one thing I was going to say, the one thing that's worth pointing out is that these are hard plastic in these sets. So a lot of people have been wondering what the material they're going to be using for this, because people have picked up things like Wasteland Warfare and stuff in the past, or they've looked at the resin range from the wider Modiphius collection. Yeah. These are all hard plastic, multi-part. So, yeah, should be cool.
Yeah, and the key thing to note is this is just our beginning point, so we are going to be seeing other groups coming out as well. So I think we'll be seeing the Disciples coming along as well. And they just look fantastic. You know, all that gritty. This is one thing I always wonder. Why is it whenever we go to a post-apocalyptic world, people forget how to make stuff properly? Just like all industry is just, no. That bin lid right there, perfect for a chest plate. Let's go, son.
It's pretty simple, because industry collapses whenever you're having to worry about how you feed yourself and your family.
So also, at that point, the general person doesn't know how to make armor.
Yeah, it's just it comes down to scavenging at that point, because you can no longer go to your supermarket and pick something up. Yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
wrap your legs with polythene bags.
With the timeline, there should be time for society to recover a little bit.
This is them recovered. See how recovered they are.
Basically, what you're saying is you want to be in the power armor and you want to be walking around with those guys who have proper guns.
Not going to lie, I normally do go Brotherhood of Steel, although I have been playing Fallout London recently. It is so superb. So superb. It is flawlessly done when it doesn't crash.
It's flawlessly done when it's not it's not crashing.
Yeah. Now, on top of that, you're going to be able to get the pack and the Disciples separate, or the pack and the operators separately as well. So you are going to get the feeling of the faction, I'm guessing, with these, because you can see how differently they're armed and armored through it all. Yes. You know, I'm seeing missile launcher there. Yeah, but some of them just like to be a little bit flash.
Dapper.
Yeah. And there's nothing to say it's a clean suit. That might be dirty, filthy, and nasty, and he took it off a skeleton.
Like everyone I've ever rented.
Ben! Well, no, this is an exciting one, because it's a world I love playing in, and having a condensed, clean 2-player set for something like this, it just makes it so much easier for folks to jump in and play in the world, which is the most important thing to me for any game. What is your jump-off point? This looks fantastic to me.
I also like that it sits alongside Wasteland Warfare quite nicely, because with that, you've got that slightly more... I mean, obviously this game has narrative elements too, because it's got the campaign thing built in, but I like that Wasteland Warfare is more of like a solo, maybe sort of campaign for you to dive into, maybe potentially play it co-op and play out as if you're playing your typical sort of Fallout games from the PC or whatever on the tabletop and telling the story of your vault dwellers and things. Whereas this takes things in a slightly different direction.
Yeah, you get to play the
twist on the rules as well.
The cannibal bad guy out in the wasteland.
Yes. It's a bit like
to build the theme park
in the Fallout world. And you do,
if you want, because I think it comes with the map of Nuka-World.
It does.
So you know where your campaign's taking place, and you can over time then build your terrain for the theme park and have those interesting little bits and pieces kicking around.
Yeah, well, I mean,
there's the best part, make a Ferris wheel.
The best part about Nuka-World was always that you got to screw over Preston Garvey.
I don't know who any of these people are.
Just saying, I'd never liked him. We have another settlement that needs your help. I've marked it on your map. Go away, Preston. Shut up.
Maybe Preston already exists in a miniature and you can hunt him down. That would be cool.
Yes. Keith now.
Yeah.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Right. Whampster. Some big news from Whampster.
Yes.
Miniatures that are actually on the right base size.
Yeah.
Oh. Assuming they haven't changed it.
I'm hearing Happy Jerry noises.
They changed the base sizes. I'm sorry.
Why would they change? But they were already on the right base size. For their new stupid rules.
And sad Jerry signs.
Jesus Christ almighty.
So yes, we're going to start off with the old world and Warhammer Fantasy Battles anew, because now Warhammer Age of Sigmar and that launch is sort of out in the world. Games Workshop has turned their attention back to Warhammer the Old World and the next army. So we previously had dwarves.
You're right. Look at those.
Warriors of Chaos. Yes, they're big.
Christ almighty, they're huge. Get an ogre on those.
So the Warriors of Chaos are going to get themselves a new battalion set, which will be a starting point for those people who don't have any Old World miniatures sitting around from past editions. This will come with an absolute boatload of Chaos Warriors with the hammers and shields. So you'll also get a set of 10 of the Chaos Knights and also 2 of the Chaos Chariots as well, which can be made with the horses, or you can use the Gore Beast, which are added in later editions and stuff. So yeah, you've got some nice options there for you to get started with. With most of these boxes, they tend to be, with the addition of maybe like 1 or 2 characters, about 1,000 points. So it's a reasonably good starting point for you to pick up and start playing Warhammer the Old World. Obviously, you'll have to get yourself the books that come with the rules and things. You can see them behind me on the shelf. There's one for evil and one for good.
We're back to one of my oldest gripes, though.
Yes.
No Lord in the box.
Well, yeah.
Give me a hero. I need a hero.
Nice to have a hero character.
Do you want a hero? There's one there. There's one there. There's 2 on those 2 chariots. Both of those knight regiments can be led by one.
You could, yeah.
That's really easy to have. Any of those could be heroes. You don't need a specific hero model. I will say, Chaos Knights with full plate armor barding is the guts of 600-700 points by themselves for a block of 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
spicy.
So this one is going to well over 1,000 points, assuming they haven't changed the points value massively.
No, from adding up my dwarf stuff when the books first came out, it was around the same size as most of my normal 1,000.
In that case, they're going to outpoint people already.
Yeah. Wasn't that always the thing with the Chaos Warriors? You know, they were a little bit more elite.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they were filth. Yeah. Absolute filth.
The nice thing is that actually regiment sizes are. It's weird. Like in many cases, you might end up actually taking them at like 10 models big because of the way that army building and stuff works now, and sort of like what you need to build armies. So it's gone in a slightly weird direction in terms of like the unit sizes. But then you also want to have bigger units because they put back in the rule where rank bonuses, but also when the front rank, the amount of wounds done to the front rank takes away from the damage that the attacks you can have back.
Yeah.
So you do want to have lots and lots of models in a unit so you can soak a hit and then next turn be able to hit back with lots of models and stuff. So it's a bit of toing and froing depending on where you're starting with the game and all that kind of thing. But anyway, that's the battalion set.
They've got a 3+ armor save, mate. They're not taking any hits. At toughness 4. You'll be fine. They're going to hit back. But I still want rank bonus.
Yeah. Alongside the battalion box set, they're also going to be releasing the new Arcane Journal for the Warriors of Chaos and also some accessories as well. With the Arcane Journal, it's the same as all the other ones they've done. You don't need it to play Warriors of Chaos. You can just use the book behind me, and that'll have all your rules in it. But if you want some specific special rules for a selection of special characters, or you want to play particularly themed lists, this will come with some of those in it. So the rules for Galrag, the massive 2-headed Zentian dragon, is in this. If only he hadn't bitten the head off the dragon, the chaos demon that he killed, then he wouldn't have gone all bad. But there we go. There's also a list for Sea Raiders in there as well. So if you want to do a Marauder themed army, that's going to be in there. I don't imagine Wolfric the Wanderer is going to be in there, which is a bit of a shame because he came from later on in the timeline.
Yeah, well, that's true.
But yeah, but I mean, he was dead then.
Well, we've already discovered that they don't know their own timeline because they've included things that they shouldn't have, like Malachai's Goblin Cure.
Yes.
So that's not necessarily a hard and fast rule.
Very true. Very true.
It depends whether or not anybody remembers.
Yeah, I remember.
Or if they have a model they're looking to sell.
Yes. They also do a selection of dice and also the cards as well. So if you just want to dive in and have some nice thematic dice for your army, or you want some cards, you can go and snap those up as well. What's quite nice about the Old World is that it hasn't been errated and FAQ to death so far. So a lot of these things are still viable, which is good. It's almost like they took their time when they built it. You've also got a whole host of returning plastics, metals, and resins. This is just a snippet of what they've got coming out. There is a lot on the way. So a lot of the plastic kits that eventually got redone in through 6th, 7th, and 8th are going to be coming back. So things like your Chaos Lord.
Nearly all of them were just 7th/8th, or possibly just 8th.
actually,
they did a ton of stuff the last edition in plastic.
They did.
They do seem to be keeping a good pace for the actual faction releases for the game now.
Yeah, I think it's now picking up a lot more now that Sigmar is launched and out of the way. The Chaos Trolls were always some of my favourite miniatures. I absolutely love those, and it's really nice to see them coming back. Good luck sticking those arms on. Pinning is your friend.
Pin.
Yes. Alongside a whole list of other bits of metal. So all like your classic metal sorcerers and champions, they're all coming back. A lot of the
only one with the sealed box, matey boy.
What?
Oh, what the hell?
How dare you? And suddenly Jerry was able to pay off everything. He's not selling it. The Shaggoth, which was originally metal, I want to say. Yeah.
Metal.
And then they did it.
That sounds heavy.
And then they did it in Finecast. It's now being redone in Forge World resin, so it's not Finecast, thank God. It's in the much better resin material that they're doing. And they've done the same thing for a lot of other of the larger releases that would have been almost impossible to do in metal again, probably. So things like the Chaos Dwarf Hell Cannon stuff being redone in, Forge World resin now as well. So you better pick that up. Alongside a lot of the stuff that came out through Monstrous Arcanum, that sort of short-lived series of books. I think it was just one in the end.
One book.
Yeah.
It accompanied Termacan.
Termacan, that was it, yeah. So a lot of those miniatures are going to be coming back, which is really nice to see.
That Chaos Dwarf range was absolute sex on a stick.
It was lovely. Yeah. Although I think they're probably coming back in Age of Sigmar nowadays. But as well as that, most of that was Wave 1. Wave 2, and obviously as well, there's a lot more miniatures coming out beyond what we've just shown you. The Wave 2 stuff is going to be the Marauders. So this is where you're able to get your Marauders on foot with their flails and hand weapon and shields, alongside your Marauder Horsemen as well. So if you like those old Barbarian miniatures, you'll be able to pick those up once again. This will also be when the Warriors of Chaos, Knights of Chaos and stuff come back out. So initially, your only place to get them will be as part of the battalion, which would be a good starting point anyway, I suppose. But then if you want to pick them up individually, you'll have to wait until Wave 2, which shouldn't be too far in the future. If you look at the Dwarf releases and stuff and what they've been doing, that will kind of give you a good guideline as to what's coming out when and sort of like the time between it. But Warriors of Chaos, now big on the horizon. I think a lot of people have been suggesting that their sort of partner release is probably going to end up being the High Elves, because a lot of people have been talking about them. I've been very tempted by the dwarf stuff, obviously, because dwarves. But then I really, really, really want to make a White Lions of Thrace army for elves. But then I realised how expensive it's going to be. So yes, I may have been looking on the internet for all sorts of character models and stuff. But anyway,
but it was all plastic, though, wasn't it? White Lions and the White Lion Chariot were both
that was
plastic in the end. Yeah. My White Lions are lead.
His name's not Chlorophyll.
No, it's not. It's Core Hill. The White Line captain is Core Hill.
Yes. Core Hill, not Chlorophyll.
Well, I mean, what are the chances that they are going to re-release that faction as a battalion?
Oh well, it's not. It'll
because if you wait,
it'll probably end up just being the Lotharen Sea Guard or something like that they'll do as the battalion, and then everything else will come out separately. So we'll see. But I'm very tempted, because I've always wanted to do a White Lions army because it's buff, badass elves that aren't like floating around with bows and shit.
They've all got axes. Are
they slightly less racist?
Yeah, maybe slightly less
racist. Still very aggressively racist, but with an axe.
But yes. So yeah, lots of stuff Warriors of Chaos coming out over the next few months.
I wonder if the Mammoth is going to make a return.
Ooh.
The big
Didn't
Forge
see it
World
in the current
Forge World Mammoth
stuff. Interestingly as well.
Old World, it was a Forge World figure, which meant it only had Forge World rules, but they were the Forge World rule stuff for the stuff they did for Warhammer was officially unofficial. It came down to whether
they put out as like PDFs and stuff.
Yeah,
like try this.
So you could put I can't remember, it might be 20 Marauders on the back of the Mammoth, and they could
that'd be cool to see.
Just use like a battle barge.
I'll have to check the book and see if they've got
I might paint mine eventually.
Yeah.
Won't do that. But it was a beautiful piece of resin.
Jerry. So,
It is a beautiful piece of resin. Gorgeous.
Interestingly, all the other previews and all the other army releases have been accompanied by at least one new plastic miniature and one new resin miniature from. So the dwarves got the new Dwarf Lord kit.
Yes.
And they also got the new Dwarf Thane on stone with the gun and stuff.
Yeah.
The Chaos one didn't have any of that currently, which I think is really fascinating because I would have thought we would have got one, but I'll have to wait and see, I suppose.
Chaos had the most, before they nuked the world, they had one of the most current ranges, whereas dwarves were still, dwarves
they never got their king kit. Yeah.
No, they got those bits and pieces added, I think, because their range was 1.5 editions earlier.
Oh, yes, I
went
know.
Away. So
I was still using my bloody little red book until I got my hardback, and I played like 3 games with my 8th edition dwarves before they went boom.
I'm sensing just pinch of salt.
Just
a bit.
Don't worry. I mean, you say that. I always move my books across as we change different editions, right? Mm-hmm. So, Mr. Whiny Whiner, I go hardback alphabetically: demons, dark elves, dwarves, empire, orcs and goblins. Oh, sorry, high elves. I've moved orcs and goblins. Oh, must have been looking at that. High elves, orcs and goblins, ogre kingdoms, and then Skaven.
Oh, yes.
Are sitting in there. It never got a hardback release. The old world ended, and it was still paper. It's also been flanked by Dogs of War, Lustria as well. Yeah. Yeah. In case I wanted to, and Storm of Chaos, in case I wanted to play specific weird lists.
Real Storm of Chaos.
Yes. Anyway,
the one that enough of that. Not this end time nonsense. Anyway, right, yes. So, old world stuff, great, looking good. We want to start with Warriors of Chaos. Jerry will be taking bids after this episode. Moving to the Mortal Realms, a whole host of stuff happened for the Skaven. So, talking of Skaven, they won the battle for Hell Crown. All the results
they get a hardback book for the old world.
Yes, they do. They actually do. And the Skaven won. Evil was victorious. They destroyed Hell Crown, and that meant that they got a miniatures reveal last weekend, where we got a whole host of brand new miniatures. So, the first one of these is Vizix Scour, who is the new Prophet of the Horned Rat. Think of him almost as your greater demon, your character greater demon for your Skaven armies, because obviously you still have the Vermin Lords and stuff. But this fellow was a sort of protean demon that was born out of the chaos that was unfolding within the Mortal Realms. And when the pact was sealed between Archaon and the Horned Rat, so that the Horned Rat could ascend to become one of the Pantheon of Chaos, this fellow was born into the world a proper, and he now has a brand new miniature, as you can see there, and he looks gorgeous. He's even covered in little tiny rats, and on his right shoulder, as if you were actually looking properly, but left as you're looking at the screen, he has a little tiny Gracier, little tiny horned little rat with a little pile of warpstone.
Yeah.
He looks like he's been juicing on the warpstone.
Yes, definitely, yes.
Needs to find something to gnaw on. Those teeth are getting a bit out of hand.
Yeah, but this edition seems very much like it's the kind of centerpiece edition where you have big miniatures that kind of affect miniatures around them. This one very much fits into that wheelhouse. Very nice model, though. Once again, it's good to see that the Skaven are finally getting their dues and some brand new miniatures. Following on from Vizix, as your kind of demonic overlord, we also have Kritok Foulblade. So if you're someone who wants to run slightly more martial force, then you've got this fellow to drop into your games. Kritok is an aberration amongst Skaven commanders, in that he doesn't just send everybody to die constantly in waves and waves and waves. He often thinks that maybe saving some reserves might be a good idea, and so he won't send you all to die today, but he will send you to die tomorrow.
Oh, that's good.
So he's a bit more of a commander, which is very
He's
cool.
a little too well armored for my taste.
Oh, he's a storm vermin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And no warlord wants to go anywhere near a battlefield where there's a chance they may get killed.
He also comes with a blade, as you can see there, which has the trapped soul of a vermin lord inside it that he made a bargain with. And now he can use it to make himself better in combat so he can strike first. But if he does so, he can't access other special rules and stuff like that. And it's all part of the demonic bargain he's made with the blade. So it's like almost like the rat version of Malus Darkblade.
I was about to say it was Malus Darkblade, yeah.
Yeah. And every time the demon does something for him, he ticks off like seconds or minutes from his prison time before he finally lets him out. But he was imprisoned there by Vizix, who we just previously saw. So it's kind of like an interesting little sort of combination of the narratives there, which I think is quite nice to see.
Quick head taker would still mess him up.
Yes. Quick head taker. Best head taker.
Best head taker.
Also, a couple of non-name characters as well. So we've got the Master Molder, who looks particularly gruesome and terrifying from Clan Molder. Again, lots of the stitched elements of sort of like weird experiments on that character. He's got the little rat catcher thing as well, which is quite nice. I love the little tiny...
He's got a friend loading for him.
He's got a little friend loading his warp pistol, which I think is so cool.
He has a Quato.
Yes, he does have a Quato, yes. But a really nice little miniature there for those people who want to go down the Clan Molder route. Lovely stuff. We also have those who want to slightly go down the sort of Clan Scryer route. So we also have the Arch Warlock as well, who has gone to town on the bionics, I suppose we'll say. The mechanical additions to his person there. Looking very nice indeed. Love it. I like the kind of metallic face mask that could also just be his face with the little glowing warpstone eyes in there. I think it's a really nice little touch.
It's when Skaven meet the Dark Crystal and go all scatters.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have been wounded. Jam some warpstone in there, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
The paint job's interesting with the little triangles all over him.
Yeah, I like it. It's almost like, and I like it just faded from age as well. So maybe he at one point had this as part of like as just being like a normal commander, and over time he's become more obsessed with science, and so that's kind of like faded away as he just sort of like
that, or he keeps failing his leader, so he keeps getting bits cut off and replaced.
Maybe that's also
that sounds a bit more Skaven-y to me.
Yeah. Sticking with Scryer, we also have a couple of additional releases for them too, because the whole narrative at the moment is a melding of Molder and Scryer, who are working together to take Hell Crown and continue their sort of like attack. So we have the Warplock Galvaneer. I love their names. Jesus Christ, Games Workshop. But yes, so the Galvaneer runs around with some of the most terrifying tech that the Skaven have access to. I really hope that so many of these rules contain stuff for them blowing themselves up, because that is the most fun thing about being Skaven.
It's the whole point of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Whoops, my screaming bell wiped out half my army.
Yeah, so this guy can fire out warp lightning, as you might have guessed, to kind of fry his enemies. Hopefully, he helps fry himself in the meantime. The warp, what were they called back in the day? Warplock Globadiers.
Warp lightning,
the Globadiers.
The Poison Wind Globadiers.
Poison Wind Globadiers. They now have a new kit with the Acolyte Globadiers. They do exactly what you'd imagine, throwing their little tiny orbs of warp stone-infused gas at your enemies to turn them into puddles of goo.
Expensive for a Skaven army.
But
the rest of the Skaven army is so cheap because they're only half-point slaves.
Yes.
Could give them shields, but that doubles their cost. Why would I do that?
Throw the tar pit at your enemies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's well seen the Skaven can't read, otherwise Geneva.
Exactly. Yeah. For those people who love their...
It's pronounced Genevieve. She's called Genevieve Undead.
Yeah. Great series of books. If you are interested in more weird contraptions, there's also the Warp Spark weapon battery, which is kind of all those older weapons plus some new ones that you like in your Skaven army all put into one. So you have some of these weapons you see here, but you're also going to get things like the Rattling guns are back, the Warp Fire throwers. So you'll be able to build these as a variety of these different weapons, set them up on the tabletop, and just go ham with them. I hope that there's still a rule for the Rattling gun where it spins around in the circle and just shoots at a random direction. That's amazing. Yes, so good.
Where are my rat ogres?
They've already come out. Are they good? Yeah. They were in the Skaven type box, so you've got them sorted, which is good. There's also the Warp Grinder. It's not an app, which is what you use for tunneling through the realms and letting your Skaven burst up in unexpected places. Again, it's
not a big one.
Yeah, it is.
Because I have two of because they released Warp grinders, but they were drill size. They were man-portable. Yeah. So they were the same as
a little bit like the ones from Thunderbirds kind of thing.
Yeah, but they're the same size as these. So it was like him carrying it, but with the big piece of warp drill bit at the end of it. Mm-hmm. So this is a more majestical one.
It is. Yeah.
For digging deeper tunnels.
Tunnels. Yeah.
Like Charles Bronson in The Great Escape.
Yeah. And so this is available for you to use to kind of like pop up it wherever you like and attack your enemies from different locations. It's great, especially with the objective focus of Warhammer Age of Sigmar and all that kind of good stuff. We also have the Doom Flayers. So you remember your Doom Wheels, they've been kind of reinvented as the Doom Flayers, as you can see here. They were originally used as mining equipment, but obviously a Skaven got the back of it and went, let's have a ride.
they had these in Warhammer as well. They had metal ones.
Yeah. And so these are going to be zooming around, covered in blades, just tearing through enemy ranks. I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
This is making me more and more excited about the prospect of painting my Skaven half of Skaven Tide, because up until now I've been putting it off. But these are making me very excited to see what I can do with them.
Yeah. If you ever imagine the opposite of health and safety, this is it.
This is it, yes. It is a nightmare. Last but not least, and sort of linked back into Critic Foulblade, we also got the update to the Storm Vermin. They are sensible Skaven who bring Vulges into combat so they can poke their enemies from afar and then run away when things go badly. Obviously, they are your elite Skaven picked from birth to fight alongside their leaders. Come with their very, very nice, big, hefty spears. Vulges, as I say, there will be good as bodyguards for your leaders, like Kritok, as we were saying. And I'm sure we're going to see some very nice elite armies of Skaven in the near future. Very cool to see.
You say picked. It's far more likely that they just ate all their siblings.
Oh, yeah, probably. And then, yeah, definitely.
Into the breeding pits.
Yeah. All of these are going to be coming out alongside, the new battle tome for the Skaven. So they're doing something slightly different with this, and it's still not entirely clear how it works, but I'm sure they'll clarify. So there will be the new battle tome, which will be like any other battle tome, but it obviously has been reworked for the new edition. Will come with all the new war scrolls and all the rules and everything you need to play the game, alongside Path to Glory and all that kind of good stuff. They're also going to be doing what they've called a gamers edition of the books, which will be limited in release, which means you'll probably never be able to get hold of it unless you're very lucky. And the gamers edition will be softback, and it will come with just the rules in it. So I'd imagine, well, they said it'll be different, so I assume it's going to have just the rules and none of the lore, probably. And it's meant so that it's going to fit in a backpack, so it's going to be slightly smaller probably as well. But the pack will come with the faction cards in addition to the book. So you'll basically have all of your rules in one place. The faction card pack will be available separately as well. But I'm kind of just assuming they're just doing this like a little tiny bundle thing, maybe trying it out and see how it works. Obviously, if you can get hold of one, that'd be great. I think there's a lot of people out there who'd rather just pick up the rules and the cards and just have at it. But I'm a lore man, so I'll be getting the hardback versions of these, no doubt.
Although not 10-star badge.
So, yeah.
Being a lore man.
But yeah, Skaven looking lovely. And of course, we just talked about the old world. While the Skaven have PDF rules for the old world, there's no reason why you can't use all of these models. Just stick them on the new base sizes and just play the old world with them, because you could always find these as equivalents for everything that exists in that game as well.
Yeah. Well, most of them carry across.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Rat for rat. I was going to say man for man, but things right.
Swarm for swarm.
Swarm for swarm.
Yeah.
But new Poison Wind Globe after, God, talk about old models. The old Poison Wind Globe days were ancient.
Clan Eshin still need to be done. I think Wave 2 of the Skaven, or Wave 3 now, I suppose.
You're expecting Gut Runners and Assassins.
Yeah, Eshin and Pestilence done properly. New upgrades would be cool.
They're still using
the little dog face ones.
Yeah. They're using the Mordheim plastics, aren't they?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Don't buy any of them.
Wow. Little bit old.
They won't fit. So,
no. Well, they'll fit my army. Matey boy.
Well,
right. Enough of this ratkin. Let's take a look at some 3D printing. All right then, Benjamino. You've been ferreting through the world of ones and zeros. Or ratting. Like little Skaven.
Yeah.
Technically squeaking.
Pilfering.
You've found something not dissimilar to what we've just looked at in the news.
Yeah.
Certainly to be adjunct to.
It could be, yes. Or you could use it for something we're going to be talking about in the near future as well.
Yeah.
It's all connected like a web. But yes, so this is the My Mini Factory page for Nuka-World. See where we're going here.
Yes.
This comes from a fellow called Yandro, who is a 3D sculptor and has been responsible for this project through Patreon and all sorts of different things like that, but also has a My Mini Factory page, as you can see here. And they have designed a whole host of 35mm scale post-apocalyptic miniatures and terrain for use in your war games, your skirmish games, your role-playing games, and anything else you might take a fancy for. There is a good selection of stuff for a variety of kind of like factions almost that Yandro has built. So you have things like the robots, as you can see that Jerry's looking through here. So if you're looking for some quirky stuff to throw into something Fallout-esque, although what Fallout I quite like about
Stargrave as well.
Yeah, exactly. What I was going to say, one of the things I really like. What? Sorry, Justin. Sorry,
getting some old world blues.
Exactly. The thing that I really like about this is that yes, it could be Fallout related, but I think a lot of it could also be kind of like classic retro Reagan pulpy style sci-fi and TV shows, all that kind of thing. And you could throw it into a whole bunch of like sci-fi stuff like Stargrave, as you're saying, or maybe other post-apocalyptic games or pulp games, whichever takes your fancy. Because I think the designs sit apart quite nicely from the kind of more defined aesthetic of Fallout, which I think is quite good. But yeah, there's some really nice stuff in here. There's the robots, as you can see, but they've also done individual faction packs for like stuff if you wanted to dive into skirmish games. So if you wanted to go down the route of doing things like the Wasteland Vanguard or something like that, so you wanted to throw in some big, heavily armored troops, obviously very inspired there by Fallout and the like. You've got those options there, but it's quite nice to see these being done on a larger scale. And obviously with 3D printing, you can obviously print as many of these as you like. So if you could build big units out of these and throw them into some of your sci-fi games that you might have, and build up larger armies rather than it just being something confined to like skirmish games and stuff on the tabletop, which I think is quite good.
One-page rules or Xenos Rampant, things like that.
Yeah, easily. All really nice sculpts as well.
Proportions on these feel a little weird.
What was that, sorry?
Is it just me, or do the proportions on these feel a little weird? From the waist down, it feels like super heavy, chunky, and up top, it just feels a little underscaled to me.
I could be wrong. I think because I don't imagine them as having their feet all the way to the bottom, if you know what I mean.
Oh, Christ, no.
I think they're like at the top bit of their leg, maybe, sort of thing, something like that. But
they're on stilts.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's I don't know. The girth of the bottom end is just a bit much.
They didn't skip leg day, so yeah. But yeah, so there's loads of stuff in there for you to pick around and choose from. As I say, there's these kind of like slightly more heavily armored fellows, the Wasteland Vanguard, which are some of their newest stuff actually that they've done. But I really like things like their Republic stuff is really cool. I really like that. They've done sort of like your classic sort of soldiers of the post-apocalyptic future. That was a mouthful to say. And a whole host of other bits and pieces, like you've got your They're Alive or Not set, which is really nice as well. So you've got some sort of creepy Martians, undead anyway, I suppose, who have been sort of hiding around in a vault. Maybe they're just radioactive mutants. Maybe they're actually undead, brought to life by some kind of fantasy-esque spell.
Those look alien to me.
I don't know. I think dead guys. Skin stuck to their faces. No eyes. Where we're going, we won't need eyes to see. So yes, got good stuff. Go and watch Event Horizon now.
Good old Sam Neill. Yes.
Yeah.
Liberate tutume ex infinis.
Yeah. But it's a really nice little set of miniatures with lots of character to them that could be used across a variety of different games. As I say, I think one of the cool things about it is the idea of you maybe taking it beyond just using them as Fallout replacements and stuff, and using them to build like a thematic army for a sci-fi game, because of the different options that you have. So
there are some really great like post-apocalyptic rule systems out there.
Yeah. I think, for example, we obviously played a lot of it last year. Now, God, time has flown. Like a lot of these could be great for things like the Doomed and stuff like that. And, so you can throw them in and use them as some of your slightly more martial elements. But it's not just not just troops and characters. They've also got terrain and objective markers and things as well. So you can get lots of little bits and pieces that could be then added to existing terrain that you already have, maybe, or could be used to build up interesting scatter pieces for use on the tabletop. And a lot of it is available both as bundles and individually as well. So if there's a particular character that you like and you want to use it in something like Wasteland Warfare or Nuka-World, for example, go and pick up one of those up and throw it into your games. But if you're somebody who wants to sort of maybe just add X amount of special weapons into a unit or something like that, you could go and pick up the individual troopers and do it that way as well, which I think is quite nice. And it's always good to have scatter terrain to make things look
fancy. So, yeah.
I think I may have to pull out This Is Not a Test again.
That'd be a good one for this as well. Yeah. Hunt down some mutants.
Just got a new edition.
It did. Yeah, from Black Site. Yeah.
Yes.
Very cool. But yeah, Nuke-World looking very nice indeed. Lots of good stuff there that fits in well with what exists. It's a smaller range at the moment as well, obviously, but it's going to grow and grow, I don't doubt. Make sure to go and check out the stuff from Nuke-World and Jandro, as I was saying.
Look at that. That's a proper parting on that haircut.
It is.
You can tell a man like that is going to go far because he's got a proper parting.
Proper parting.
As we learned from Simon and Trevor many years ago. Right. That wraps up our 3D printing, which leaves only one part left in the show.
Did you win one of our prizes? Find out on our prize claim center over at OnTableTop.com. Here we list all our previous prizes and those who have won. If you see your username, fill out the form to claim your prize. All prizes must be claimed within 30 days.
A couple of Kickstarters to round it all out and make Lloyd really annoyed he wasn't here.
Oh, is there something he's going to love here?
Yeah.
Always.
So we start off with Golden Dragon Games, and this was a project that was actually sent to me by John because he spied these online. This is for Marcher Empires at War. So Golden Dragon Games have been working on their game, Marcher Empires at War, and it's existed in the world for a very, very long time already. It's been available over on Patreon. You can dive into it. They even have a set of digital rules you can go and just download and play for free because they believe that if the rules are free online, you can spend more time buying miniatures and painting them and having fun, and you don't have to worry about all these nonsense erratas and all that kind of stuff. So yes, you'll be able to dive in, get the mission packs, get the core rules, everything you need to play, and start having some fun with it. But this is a Kickstarter where they're trying to push things to the next level. Now, there are 3 armies available for you to play so far. There's the Holy Roman Empire and the New French Republic. And the third one of them is the United States of America, the good old US of A. And so they've decided, alongside some help from Wargames Atlantic, to try and fund, well, they have funded, the creation of new plastic kits for the US of A on the tabletop, which is cool. So yes, they're working towards a full plastic set for these. Currently, they're looking at 4 frames per box with 5 figures on each, allowing you to build 2 squads of infantry per set, which is quite nice. And then if things go well, they're going to be starting to add new characters, new content, new weapon teams, all that kind of stuff in there as well to have some fun with the game. As a lot of people have been talking about Marcher online of like the last couple of weeks or so, obviously because of the Kickstarter campaign coming out and then working on doing the plastic sprues. It's great that they've been able to get to the stage where they can do this, I think. But it's a proper diesel punk style game designed around the same scale of models and sort of games that you'd see for 40k and stuff. And so a lot of people have been looking at this as kind of like an alternative, especially with the kind of Weird World War aspect to it as well, and what they've built over on Patreon. But yeah, this one looks absolutely awesome. And it's great to see them working with Wargames Atlantic to make this thing a reality. Very cool. Yeah.
I was very interested when I seen the plastics popping up.
Yeah. I like that they're giving you the breakdown on what each component is on the sprue by numbering it out for you.
And that's also in flux as well. So that's the kind of idea of what they want to put on the sprue. But obviously feedback from the community and also feedback from Wargames Atlantic themselves, who obviously masters of doing plastics now, are going to help sort of work on the process for sort of bringing it to life. But the initial set of miniatures for this kind of diesel punk style stuff is really cool. I love all that kind of, there's lots of really nice World War II elements in there, but then additional stuff thrown in to kind of give it that slightly more sci-fi edge, which is really cool.
So, well, this is when myself and John were looking at it the other day. We were talking about potentially dropping these into Conflict 47.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a good shout.
Because, you know, there are your standard bold action Americans will work perfectly well for it, but then there's also veterans and elite units who might be a bit more up armored and a bit, more stand out in their equipment, a little bit woo, they're geezers. And so having these guys as being a sort of a veteran or elite infantry unit within Conflict 47 is very doable because there are those rules for weird and wacky armored type people dealing with whatever's coming their way.
I also absolutely like you could convert some of these components in.
Yeah. Easily.
I love the that grenade launcher / blooper. There's a gun called the Lady Defender, which Gun Jesus did a video on years ago. You should go and have a look at it. I'm not going to say anything else, but when I see that, I think about that being just like the Lady Defender. And
okay, right.
And yeah, it's definitely one way to defend your honor. Say that. But those look absolutely cracking. And yeah, good to see. I mean, we've seen it with Markman Dragon and the Iron Core getting a re-release finally after many years for the Dreamforge bits and pieces of the Eisenkern, of which there was a cheeky announcement last week that a ton more stuff is coming. Not just something's coming, a load more stuff is coming.
Nice.
On the back of that, we've got the Quar from Josh. We've got the Last War
stuff
coming, and now Marcher as well. So it's nice that other companies who might not be able to get full tooling done themselves can go via the medium of the likes of Kickstarter and then get Wargames Atlantic to knock some stuff out for them. And they look like they're going to be absolutely spanking gorgeous. Mm-hmm. Look at the choo-choo puff-puff coming over the hill. Anyway. So yes, the Marcher stuff, great. And also the fact that all of the files are available, like you say, so you can go and have a look at the rules in case. Because the rules might be something that you fancy giving it a swirl even before you pick up the miniatures. Or maybe you don't want the Yankee Pankies, you want one of the other factions.
Holy Roman Empire.
Holy Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Yes. I really like the idea of the Germans going at it as part of the Holy Roman Empire again.
It's a great idea.
It's just so much more fun. They do have the Patreon as well, which is there in case you're interested. So you can see some of the other bits and pieces they've designed for the ones and zeros crowd.
Available as STLs, Just join up and get them every month.
Look at that. Yeah. I've got so many World War I German helmets painted in that tortoiseshell camo. The idea of doing a whole tank would make me cry. But yeah.
Sorry, you just make John do it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I didn't make him do any of the others. I was very good in that respect. Yeah. But if you fancy it, Marcher has got nearly a month left, 23 days, already funded. So get in there and see what else you can give them. Give them a headache. Make them put more things on the sprue. Make Charlie and friends work at Wargames Atlantic.
Hey, it keeps them fed.
They can't stop me.
Keeps them fed. Yeah.
Right. Our final Kickstarter for this week. More choo-choos.
Oh, no, I see.
Proper choo-choos.
So this one comes from Mad Bob Miniatures, who we've looked at in the past for their amazing terrain and all sorts of bits and pieces.
Foldy terrain.
This is their Armored Trains of the Russian Civil War Kickstarter. Now, this one's a bit more niche, I guess you'd say.
Is it?
But it gives you a whole host of good stuff throwing into your games that are maybe based around the Russian Civil War. So, as you might have guessed by the title, very self-explanatory, it's a bunch of the armored trains that would have been around during that period, but also, obviously, for the Great War as well. They've done these as both STL files and physical miniatures, and the can be scaled into 28, 20, or 15. So there's a little bit of breadth there in sort of where you want to take them. They have said that the components and stuff, you may have to look at sort of how you build them and take a little bit more time with some of the stuff in smaller scale, because obviously the components will be a little smaller, but it allows you to build some interesting stuff you're using on your tabletop as background scenery or as part of scenarios and everything else you want to dive into as well. Now, they have also talked about the gauges.
I've seen that.
Of course. So the 28mm trains are O gauge axles. The 20 and 15mm trains come with OO or HO gauge axles. So there you go. I've done that bit for you. Don't have to worry.
Did you see the little follow-up going, Russian gauges were actually 5 feet wide, wider than the standard European gauge and narrow gauge?
So if you really want to be...
Lloyd would be just rolling on his floor, rubbing himself right now, legs kicking in the
air. I will say, I love the design of these, but
yeah, they're great.
Me personally, what I might do, I might take them and just throw some extra gubbins on and make them a bit sci-fi.
You could easily do that. Yeah, just turn them into big trains for sci-fi games and add guns all over the place and all sorts of different things like that. You'd have some fun.
It's not something that's over hard to do. Just add some iconography and stuff.
And away you go, pretty much. Then they have done some, I say this in the named trains, special character trains, I guess. So
yes.
They've done things like the Hunhaz, the Slava, and the Orlik as well. So it's a lot of trains that did literally exist during the time period. So if you wanted to do stuff around them, you could easily fit them into stuff. and have some fun
There's
with it.
Slava Ukraini.
Yeah.
I am left to wonder how tactically viable these were.
Well,
massively so.
More importantly, they were there for getting things where they needed to be. I mean, that's one of the massive things about the Russian Civil War, which was higgledy-piggledy and all over the place and insane.
And not just the Russian Civil War.
Well, that's true.
But even World War II and modern day, transporting armoured fighting vehicles and men is much easier via railway routes than attempting to shift them in any other form.
And I suppose if this has defences,
yes. So that's really what they were at. They weren't something that was going to go out and seize an objective. They were to get the stuff that you needed to the objective, or
make
at
sure
least not back in the woods.
Move the train line.
These are absolutely gorgeous.
Snowpiercer on these. That'd be cool. But yes, some cool stuff there on that front. And as I say, named vehicles, for want of a better word, so you can use them in your games for particular scenarios and stuff in particular areas of Russia and beyond. They've also done. There's even more coming as well. So as things continue, both as unlocks, as part of stretch goals and things like that, there's the Zamorets, there's the General Debauer, there's the Lenin, and all sorts of other things popping up as well. So as they hit these targets, they will be adding these into the mix. And because they can be scaled in different way across, from 28 down to 15, I think people are going to find a lot of utility for these in their games, be they the Great War, the Russian Civil War, maybe feeding these through into World War II as well. You could probably have some fun there on that front too. As I say, if nothing else, they're a fun little project for you to work on, as just for dioramas and displays. But if you wanted to use them for gaming, you could use them as objectives and terrain and all sorts of different things.
Objectives and terrain,
So really cool.
The Blood and Valor rules, skirmish rules from Firelock.
Yeah.
They have the End of Empires expansion that contains about 20 or 25 lists from the Russian Civil War, covering all the various constituent parts that were involved across that. So where they're naming specific trains that were in specific regions, you'll probably find that the armies that were involved in that region are also already in that list. So whether it's trying to blow up a track before a train gets through, or take the train over, or have it shelling a city and maybe attempting to knock the guns out through some sort of commando-like raid on it, whatever you want to, you can find a way to squeeze them into your gaming table. And then just don't build a whole layer for them, because then that way lies madness and trains.
Maybe if you're playing Marcher, these could be objectives where the Russians have been sneaky tech through the lands, and so you need to send your badass troops from the Holy Roman Empire to go and steal them and have some fun. Plasma. It's always plasma.
So everything's plasma.
Plasma or Tesla.
Either way, if it goes wrong, it burns.
Yes.
There are 2 weeks left for that. It's already funded as well. So if you fancy some trainage, go for your guns, have some rolling stock, roll some dice. It's all good in the hood. All right. That's us done for a week. Don't forget to comment over on Tabletop if you want a chance to win the Age of Sigmar starter set. So do this thing. We will see you next Friday, or if that's too far away, come over to OnTableTop on Sunday. Join us for the XLBS with our cultists. They're all terrible cults. We will be there talking hobby in the early hours of the morning. Join us. You can get a 30-day trial if you're not already a cultist. Otherwise, we'll see you next Friday. Have a great week of gaming. Bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.